Hashtag rewritten script. 5 juices for your eyes and brain. Close your eyes for 3 seconds. Go ahead, actually do it right now. That darkness you just experienced, for millions of people over 60, that darkness is growing. It is creeping in from the edges, slowly, quietly, and relentlessly. The world is getting blurrier, dimmer, harder to read, harder to navigate. Colors that once seemed vivid now appear washed out. Street signs that used to be easy to read from a distance now require squinting. And the cruelest part about all of this is how slowly it happens. Most people do not even realize how much they have lost until they hold up an old photograph and think, I used to see every single leaf on that tree. That moment of recognition is heartbreaking, and it happens to millions of people every single year. But here is the thing that almost no one is talking about, and it changes everything. Your eyes and your brain are not separate systems living independent lives. They are connected by the same blood supply, protected by the same antioxidant defenses, and destroyed by the same inflammatory forces. So when your vision starts to fade, it is not just your eyes in trouble, it is your brain too. The same nutrient deficiencies stripping away the delicate light-sensing cells in your retina are simultaneously destroying neurons in your hippocampus, which is the memory center of your brain. Research published in a major ophthalmology journal has confirmed that people with age-related vision loss have significantly higher rates of cognitive decline and dementia. This is not a coincidence. It is biology. And it means both problems can be addressed with the same solutions. Today, I am going to share 5 specific juices that target both your eyes and your brain at the same time. These are not trendy wellness drinks. They are not products pulled off a health food store shelf with flashy labels. These are combinations of real, whole ingredients backed by published research, and they work through very specific biological mechanisms that I am going to explain to you clearly, so you understand not just what to drink, but exactly why it works inside your body. My name is Dr. Thomas Reed, and the connection between vision health and brain health is one of the most underappreciated relationships in all of medicine. Your eye doctor is not talking to your neurologist. Your neurologist is not examining your retina. And meanwhile, the same destructive process is quietly eating away at both organs while you sleep, during the very hours your body should be repairing them. I want to be completely direct with you. I am not going to give you vague, feel-good advice like, just eat more vegetables and hope for the best. I am going to explain the exact biological mechanisms through which specific compounds in these juices interact with the cells in your retina and your brain. I want you to understand what happens at the molecular level, why the timing of when you drink these juices matters just as much as what is in the glass, and why most people are leaving enormous healing potential on the table every single night simply because they do not know about this. And stay with me all the way through, because the 5th juice contains an ingredient that most physicians have never even considered for eye or brain health, and the science behind it is genuinely extraordinary. Let us start with juice number 1, the wild blueberry and Concord grape blend. I am starting here because this juice targets what I consider the most urgent threat to both your vision and your memory after 60. And that threat is called oxidative stress. Now, before you tune out because you have heard that word before, let me explain it in a way that will actually mean something to you. Imagine your cells are like small engines running constantly. Every time those engines fire, they produce tiny sparks of waste called free radicals. When you are young, your body handles those sparks easily. But after 60, the sparks accumulate faster than your body can neutralize them, and they start burning through the very cells they are supposed to be powering. In your retina and your brain, those sparks are destroying the cells you depend on for vision and memory every single day. Now here is why I specifically said wild blueberries and not the regular cultivated ones from your grocery store. The difference is enormous, and it genuinely matters. Wild blueberries are smaller, tougher, and they grow in harsh environments with rocky soil, extreme cold, and intense sunlight. To survive those conditions, they produce dramatically higher levels of anthocyanins, which are the deep blue and purple pigments that belong to the flavonoid family and happen to be some of the most powerful antioxidants found anywhere in nature. Wild blueberries contain roughly twice the anthocyanin concentration of regular cultivated blueberries. When you consume those anthocyanins, your body essentially inherits the protection those plants built for themselves. That is not a metaphor. That is biochemistry working in your favor. Concord grapes bring a second layer of protection that works completely differently. They are exceptionally rich in a class of compounds called proanthocyanidins, which are large, complex molecules that have a unique ability to embed themselves in the walls of your blood vessels. This matters enormously because both your eyes and your brain depend entirely on healthy blood vessels for their oxygen and nutrient supply. Your retina alone is fed by two separate vascular networks made up of incredibly delicate capillaries that are highly vulnerable to oxidative damage. When those capillaries weaken, blood flow drops. The light-sensing cells in your retina receive less oxygen, less nutrition, and the overnight repair cycle loses the resources it needs. Over time, this vascular breakdown contributes directly to macular degeneration and other forms of vision loss that most people simply accept as inevitable aging. The proanthocyanidins from Concord grapes strengthen those capillary walls, reduce the leaking that causes fluid buildup in the retina, and stimulate the production of nitric oxide, which tells your blood vessels to relax and widen so more blood can flow through. And the same protection extends to your brain, because the tiny blood vessels feeding your neurons are structurally nearly identical to those in your retina. What heals one heals the other. Once anthocyanins from wild blueberries enter your brain tissue, they accumulate specifically in the hippocampus. Once they cross the blood-retinal barrier, they settle into the retinal pigment epithelium, which is the cell layer responsible for overnight maintenance of your photoreceptors. There, they neutralize free radicals directly, activate your body's own internal antioxidant defense systems at the genetic level, and improve mitochondrial efficiency so your cells produce cleaner energy with less damaging waste during the night. To make this juice, combine 1 cup of frozen wild blueberries with 1 cup of pure Concord grape juice, not a grape-flavored blend. Add half a cup of water, blend until smooth, and drink it with the pulp intact because the fiber slows the absorption of natural sugars and feeds your beneficial gut bacteria. Drink this in the early evening, about 3 to 4 hours before bed, so the anthocyanins can be absorbed and delivered to your retinal and brain tissue right when your nightly repair cycle is ramping up. Juice number 2 is the carrot, sweet potato, and turmeric juice. Most people know carrots are good for your eyes, but almost nobody understands why, and the real story is far more interesting than you might expect. Carrots are rich in beta-carotene, which your body converts into vitamin A, which is essential for regenerating the visual pigment in your rod cells, the cells responsible for night vision. Without enough vitamin A, your night vision deteriorates. That much is well known. But here is what almost nobody tells you. Beta-carotene itself, independent of its conversion to vitamin A, is a powerful, fat-soluble antioxidant that embeds itself directly inside the fatty membranes of cells in your retina and your brain. It acts like a shield against a specific kind of damage called lipid peroxidation, where free radicals attack and destroy the fatty acids that make up those membranes. This protection is especially critical during sleep when your retinal cells are actively digesting and recycling the spent debris from your photoreceptors. Sweet potato adds something beta-carotene cannot provide on its own. It contains a different carotenoid called beta-cryptoxanthin, which has been shown to naturally suppress an inflammatory enzyme called COX-2, the same enzyme targeted by anti-inflammatory medications like ibuprofen. By naturally reducing this inflammation in retinal and brain tissue, Beta-cryptoxanthin helps slow the chronic low-grade inflammatory process that is quietly driving neurodegeneration and retinal degeneration in millions of older adults right now. Sweet potato also provides vitamin C, which works in perfect partnership with beta-carotene because one is fat-soluble and protects the inside of cell membranes, while the other is water-soluble and protects the environment around the cells. Together, they create a complete antioxidant shield covering both compartments of your tissues simultaneously. But the real headline ingredient in this juice is turmeric, and the science behind it is remarkable. Curcumin, the active compound in turmeric, has been the subject of over 15,000 published scientific studies. For brain health, it simultaneously targets multiple biological mechanisms involved in neurodegeneration. It suppresses inflammatory signals that drive brain damage, enhances the production of BDNF, which is the protein that promotes new neuron growth and survival, and has been shown to interfere directly with the formation of the amyloid plaques associated with Alzheimer's disease. For your eyes, curcumin has demonstrated protective effects against macular degeneration, and it has been shown to protect the retinal ganglion cells, which are the neurons that transmit visual signals along your optic nerve to your brain. When those cells survive longer, the quality of visual information reaching your brain stays higher, and your brain expends less energy on interpreting degraded visual signals. There is one critical thing you need to know about curcumin. Your body absorbs almost none of it on its own. Most of it passes straight through your digestive system without entering your bloodstream. The solution is simple, and it takes 1 second. Add a small pinch of freshly ground black pepper. Black pepper contains a compound called piperine that blocks the enzymes responsible for breaking down curcumin before absorption, and studies have shown this single addition increases curcumin bioavailability by up to 2,000%. Make this juice by juicing 3 large carrots and 1 medium sweet potato, adding 1 teaspoon of ground turmeric or a fresh turmeric root, adding that pinch of black pepper, and adding a tablespoon of olive oil or coconut oil because both curcumin and beta-carotene require dietary fat to be absorbed at all. Drink this with dinner so the nutrients are available during the first half of the night when repair activity is highest. Juice number 3 is the spinach, kale, and green apple juice. This juice targets 2 nutrients so specific to eye and brain health that they deserve their own detailed explanation. Those nutrients are lutein and zeaxanthin, and they are the only carotenoids that accumulate in the macula, which is the central region of your retina responsible for every visual task that requires fine detail. Reading, recognizing faces, driving, threading a needle, everything sharp and central depends entirely on your macula functioning well. Lutein and zeaxanthin form a protective yellow layer in front of your photoreceptor cells called the macular pigment, which acts as a biological pair of sunglasses, filtering damaging blue light before it can reach and destroy those cells, while simultaneously neutralizing the free radicals that photoreceptors generate during normal visual processing. As you age, the density of your macular pigment decreases, and it leaves your photoreceptors increasingly exposed. This thinning is actually one of the first measurable changes in age-related macular degeneration, detectable years before any vision loss becomes noticeable. The Age-Related Eye Disease Study, one of the largest nutritional trials ever conducted on eye health, found that lutein and zeaxanthin supplementation significantly reduced the risk of progression to advanced macular degeneration. But here is where the connection to your brain becomes undeniable. Lutein does not only accumulate in your macula, it also accumulates in your brain, and it is actually the dominant carotenoid in brain tissue. Your brain is selectively concentrating lutein, which is a powerful signal that it serves a critical function there. Research from the University of Illinois confirmed that brain lutein levels correlate directly with cognitive performance in older adults. Higher lutein concentrations mean better memory, faster processing speed, and more efficient neural signaling. Spinach and kale are the richest dietary sources of lutein and zeaxanthin available. 1 cup of raw kale contains approximately 11 milligrams of these combined carotenoids. Most dietary eye health supplements contain 10 milligrams per serving. So a single cup of kale in your juice is providing a genuine therapeutic dose from whole food. The green apple makes it drinkable and also contributes quercetin, a flavonoid that crosses the blood-brain barrier, reduces neuroinflammation, and supports memory function. Add 1 teaspoon of avocado oil or 1/4 of an avocado when you blend this juice, because lutein and zeaxanthin are fat-soluble, and studies show that consuming them with dietary fat can double or even triple the amount that actually reaches your bloodstream and ultimately your macula and brain tissue. Juice number 4 is the beet, pomegranate, and ginger juice. This one addresses what I believe is the single most overlooked factor in both vision loss and cognitive decline after 60, and that factor is blood flow. Your retina and your brain are the 2 most blood-hungry tissues in your entire body relative to their size. They consume disproportionate amounts of oxygen and glucose, and they are extraordinarily sensitive to even small reductions in blood supply. After 60, blood flow to both organs progressively declines. Blood vessels become stiffer, their inner walls thicken, their ability to widen in response to increased demand weakens, and tiny blockages form in the capillary networks that feed both the retina and the brain. The result is a slow, steady strangulation of the tissues that need blood the most. Beets are extraordinarily rich in natural nitrates, and the science behind what those nitrates do in your body is one of the most consistently replicated findings in vascular biology. When you consume beet juice, the nitrate enters your bloodstream and gets converted by bacteria on your tongue into nitrite, which is then converted into nitric oxide throughout your vascular system. Nitric oxide is the body's master vasodilator. It tells your blood vessels to relax, widen, and let more blood flow through. A study from Wake Forest University used brain imaging to directly visualize what happens in older adults' brains after consuming beet juice, and the images showed dramatically increased blood flow to the frontal cortex, specifically in the regions most vulnerable to age-related decline, the areas governing decision-making, working memory, and executive function. For your retina, increased nitric oxide restores oxygen delivery to the photoreceptors and gives your overnight repair cycle the resources it has been missing. Pomegranate adds a completely different dimension. Its antioxidant capacity exceeds that of red wine, green tea, and even blueberry juice. It contains unique compounds called punicalagins that protect the endothelial cells lining your blood vessels, preserving their ability to produce nitric oxide in the first place. It also contains elagitannins that your gut bacteria convert into urolithin A, which triggers a process called mitophagy, the cellular cleanup system that clears out damaged mitochondria and replaces them with healthy new ones. This mitochondrial renewal is critical for the retinal cells doing nighttime repair work, and for the hippocampal neurons consolidating your memories during sleep. Ginger rounds out this juice by contributing a compound called 6-gingerol that reduces inflammation through the same pathways targeted by anti-inflammatory medications, while also acting as a natural bioenhancer that increases the absorption of the nitrates and polyphenols in the rest of the glass. Juice 2 medium-peeled beets, add 1 cup of pure pomegranate juice, and blend with a 1-inch piece of fresh ginger root. Drink this in the late afternoon or early evening for maximum overnight benefit. Now we arrive at juice number 5, and I promised you something extraordinary. The juice is tart cherry and bilberry, and the reason it is in a category of its own comes down to one remarkable ingredient. Tart cherries, which are completely different from the sweet cherries you eat as a snack, are one of the only natural food sources of melatonin in concentrations that are actually physiologically meaningful. Studies have measured melatonin levels in tart cherry juice and confirmed it is sufficient to measurably raise blood melatonin in human subjects. Most people think of melatonin purely as a sleep hormone, but that framing undersells it enormously. Melatonin is a master regulator of nighttime repair throughout your entire body, and its effects on the retina and the brain are unlike anything else. Inside your brain, melatonin is one of the most potent antioxidants your body produces. It penetrates into the mitochondria themselves, which is something most dietary antioxidants simply cannot do, and it neutralizes the free radicals generated during energy production right at their source. It also regulates the timing and depth of deep, slow-wave sleep, which is the stage where your brain's glymphatic system is most active, flushing out the toxic waste products that accumulate during waking hours, including the proteins associated with Alzheimer's disease. Higher melatonin levels at bedtime mean more time in deep restorative sleep, more thorough brain detoxification, and more complete memory consolidation every single night. In your retina, melatonin regulates the precise timing of when photoreceptor cells shed their damaged outer segments and when the retinal pigment epithelium recycles them. When that timing is disrupted by declining melatonin levels, as naturally happens after 60, the recycling becomes inefficient and toxic debris begins to accumulate. That debris forms lipofuscin, a poisonous yellow-brown pigment that builds up in the retinal pigment epithelial cells and eventually kills them. This accumulation is one of the earliest pathological events in macular degeneration, and it is directly tied to falling melatonin levels. Tart cherry juice provides melatonin alongside a complex matrix of anthocyanins, phenolic acids, and other bioactive compounds that create a more natural, sustained elevation of melatonin in your bloodstream compared to a synthetic supplement tablet. A clinical study in the European Journal of Nutrition found that tart cherry juice increased sleep duration by an average of 84 minutes and improved time spent in restorative sleep stages in older adults. That is not a minor result. That is a profound difference in the amount of repair your brain and retina can accomplish each night. Bilberry is the second ingredient in this juice, and it deserves far more attention than it typically receives. Bilberry is a European relative of the blueberry, but it is pigmented all the way through its flesh rather than just in its skin, which means it contains substantially higher anthocyanin concentrations per berry. Bilberry anthocyanins have been shown to accelerate the regeneration of rhodopsin, the visual pigment in your rod cells responsible for night vision and low light vision. This regeneration normally occurs during sleep, but bilberry compounds appear to speed up the recycling process, so your photoreceptors fully recharge more efficiently during the night. The same anthocyanins cross the blood-brain barrier and accumulate in the hippocampus, where they reduce oxidative stress and improve spatial memory. They also gently inhibit the activity of enzymes called monoamine oxidase, which are responsible for breaking down neurotransmitters like dopamine, serotonin, and norepinephrine. After 60, monoamine oxidase activity tends to increase, meaning your brain breaks down these critical chemical messengers faster than it can replace them. By moderating that breakdown, bilberry helps maintain the neurochemical balance your brain needs to stay motivated, focused, and emotionally stable during the day while repairing itself thoroughly at night. To make this juice, combine 1 cup of pure tart cherry juice with half a cup of bilberry juice or 2 tablespoons of bilberry powder, both of which are available at health food stores or online. Add a squeeze of fresh lemon juice and a small amount of raw honey if the tartness is too sharp. The timing of this particular juice is critical. Drink it 60 to 90 minutes before bed so the melatonin enters your bloodstream right as your body is naturally preparing to fall asleep, reinforcing your melatonin surge and driving you into the deep, restorative sleep where all of tonight's repair work will happen. Here is the practical system that makes all of this sustainable. You do not need to make all 5 juices every single day. Rotate them across the week. Monday and Thursday, make the wild blueberry and Concord grape blend. Tuesday and Friday, make the carrot, sweet potato, and turmeric juice. Wednesday and Saturday, alternate between the spinach and kale juice and the beet and pomegranate juice. And every single night without exception, finish with the tart cherry and bilberry juice about 90 minutes before bed. That one is non-negotiable because sleep quality is the foundation on which every other benefit in this program is built. Without deep restorative sleep, the other juices simply cannot do their best work. Keep frozen wild blueberries, frozen tart cherries, and frozen spinach in your freezer at all times. Buy bilberry powder to keep at room temperature. Keep ginger root, turmeric root, and beets in your refrigerator. Keep bottles of pure Concord grape juice and pure pomegranate juice in the refrigerator door. These are your backbone ingredients, and having them on hand means there is no excuse to skip a night. Your eyes and your brain are not two separate problems requiring two separate solutions. They are one interconnected system built from the same embryonic tissue, nourished by the same blood, defended by the same molecules, and damaged by the same processes. When you protect one, you are protecting the other. The nutrients your retina needs to repair photoreceptors overnight are the same nutrients your hippocampus needs to consolidate memories. The blood flow your macula needs to stay nourished is the same blood flow your frontal cortex needs to stay sharp. The deep sleep your glymphatic system needs to clear toxic waste is the same deep sleep your retinal pigment epithelium needs to recycle the day's visual debris. Every single night your body is working hard to undo the damage of the day. These 5 juices give it the tools to actually succeed. Start tonight, because every night you wait is a night your brain and your eyes are working without everything they need.